floating packing is another type of packing, and a good example where they're used is piston rings. So this is the floating packing. It will slightly float, or it will be loose in the groove where it sits, and it comes as one piece. It splits at the ends here, and when installed, you need to slightly pull it apart and then slide it over the piston and then drop it into the sitting groove. The lip seals are used on rotating shafts and are used in low pressure areas, 2 to 10 psi, and a hydraulic film of lubricant is formed at the point of contact to prevent friction and wear on the shaft. This is a typical lip seal. So this is the lip seal, the housing that the rubber is pressed into. So this is just one unit, this called lip seal, and it's called lip seal because there's a lip that seals rotating shaft and the inside, for example, of a gearbox. So as you can see, this spring, garter spring, it makes the lip hug the shaft. So there's always constant contact between the lip and the shaft. And even though this lip is made of rubber compound, it still will wear out the shaft after a long time. So if there is a leakage past the lip seal from, for example, if it's sealing the gearbox oil on this side, and then if you see oil leaking past the lip seal, and you think that you just need to replace the lip seal because it worn out, please pay attention to the area of the shaft that the lip seal acts upon, because quite often a slight wear on the shaft will cause the lip seal to leak. And even though the lip is made out of rubber compound, softer than the shaft, it will wear out the shaft, and you have to fix the shaft before you install a new lip seal. Again, lip seals are designed to handle pressures up to 10 psi, so 2 to 10 psi. On this side, the pressure will be up to 10 psi max. If not, if it's more, then the seal will leak. And also, even though the hydrodynamic fluid is formed between the lip seal and the shaft, and that film is supposed to help with lubrication to prevent wear between the lip seal and the shaft, it still will wear out, or it's possible that the shaft will still wear out even though the lubricant is provided to reduce the friction between the lip and the shaft. The lip seal consists of one sealing edge. So this is the sealing edge. Again, garter spring that pushes the lip to seal between the shaft and the lip. And a lip seal could be installed in two ways. So if you think of this lip seal, this is the cutaway view of it. You can either install it the way it's shown in figure 35, or you can turn it 180 degree, which is a second type of second way of installing it. It depends on what you are sealing. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain this again on this picture. So you see, this is the face of the seal. This is where the numbers go, and the way it's located right now, you've got numbers that are visible on left side. Now if I take this seal out completely off the shaft, rotate it 180 and put it back, then the face of this is going to be back here. Okay, so hopefully it makes sense to you, because this is very important. These seals, they have to be installed properly for them to be effective, and we're either installing it to contain the lubricant in the housing, or it's called include. So the lip will include or contain the lubricant in the housing. So figure 35 shows inclusion seal. So inclusion seal or seal in. And if you imagine that there's a gearbox in here or the bearing and it's being lubricated, there's going to be a lubricant splashing out, and what happens is the lubricant actually provides an additional seal by increasing the pressure on the back in this area plus the pressure of the spring that holds it to the shaft. Then we are keeping the oil in the gearbox in the left hand side. So if this seal is installed the opposite way, then the lubricant will leak past the seal. There's going to be no additional pressure in this area of the lip seal. So the same seal could be installed so it becomes exclusion seal or sealing out. And in that case, if you're trying to contain contamination outside the gearbox, then it could be installed this way. So the bearing or the oil is going to be on this side, and then the pressure, air pressure, will push down on the lip seal, providing additional sealant. So the same seal could be installed either inclusion or exclusion, depending on what is being achieved. And this is the same seal you just saw in figure 35, and it's either inclusion or exclusion. So the same seal again could be installed two ways, and you have to watch any piece of equipment you disassemble. You better make sure that you're installing the seal proper way, otherwise the seal will not do what it's designed to do. And you have to figure out the best way would be probably to mark the way the seal was removed and then put it back exactly the same way. And again, figure 36 shows lip seal facing inward, inclusion seal, and outward, exclusion seal. So inclusion, it will contain all the lubricants that pass the bearing. The lubricant will gather in this area, push down on the bearing as in the arrow shown, and it will include the oil or the lubricants in the bearing. And exclusion, we're trying to prevent contamination from past the shaft and getting into the bearing. So that's the exclusion seal, and the air pressure on the seal here will push down on the lip to provide a better sealing. And another way these seals are installed are shown in figure 37, back to back, facing the same direction, and seal with lips on front and rear. So it's just a configuration of double lip seals. Previously I mentioned that even though the lip seals, they have a rubber lip which seals, it's still strong enough for to overcome or to wear out the shaft. So you can see in figure 40A, the worn out area. So one of the ways to fix the problem of leaking seal is to move the seal slightly away by putting a spacer, or you can put a sleeve on the shaft, and then that will the sleeve will extend past the damage in the shaft. So just be aware that this type of seals, even though they're rubber, they will wear out the shaft with time, and this is just two ways of fixing the worn out shaft. Ring seals are non-positive seals, and they could be made of cork, felt, leather, or synthetic rubber. So the easiest way to understand how this works is if you think of putting a rag into the opening on the cap right here. So that's all it does. Basically, since it's non-positive, there will be leakage past the felt material or leather. It depends on what that seal is made of, and if, as I try to explain to you the simple way, you're shoving a rag in, there's going to be a leakage for sure. But that's the way, that's the idea behind the ring. A wiper or scraper, just another name, is a non-positive seal. What it means is, again, if there's a passage of oil through, then the wiper will not prevent oil from passing past itself. All that wiper does is just cleans the rod of the cylinder from dirt and dust. It does look similar to lip seal, but it has a completely different purpose. Boots and bellows are positive seals which have one end secured to the housing and the other to the moving part. So if you're driving manual transmission car, then you have a boot installed on the shifter, on the gear shifter, because it has a shorter stroke, while bellows they cover or they're used in longer strokes. Next is diaphragm seals, and these seals do not allow any fluid to transfer from one chamber to another. A good example is a pressure gauge, and to explain how they work, I will show you this video.
Diaphragm seals are used in different areas of pressure measurement. For the following applications, diaphragm seals are indispensable when it must be prevented that a critical medium has a direct impact on the measuring instrument, or when the measuring point is in an unfavorable position so that the measuring instrument cannot be installed or cannot be read. In both cases, completely different measuring conditions could also prevail. Hence, diaphragm seals must be flexibly adapted and customized to their respective intended purpose. The function is always identical in both cases. The diaphragm seals separate the medium from the measuring instrument. With the aid of a fill fluid inside the diaphragm seal, the pressure is now transmitted to the measuring instrument. The individual components are perfectly attuned to their respective application and thus ensure a reliable measurement. Diaphragm seals are extremely flexible. They can be mounted to any type of pressure measuring instrument. They allow the measured value to be read directly at the measuring point or from a distance, so that measurement is, for example, also possible at extreme medium temperatures. Diaphragm seals can be manufactured from a wide range of materials, such as Hastelloy, tantalum, and coated with special materials like PFA or gold. They therefore enable measurement also with aggressive, abrasive, and all other critical media.
Next are clearance seals, so bushings, annulus seals, slinger flinger seals, and labyrinth seals considered non-positive seals, and they are clearance seals. So basically between the stationary components and rotating components there is no contact. For example, labyrinth seal is used in high-speed application because there's no contact between the seal mounted on the shaft and the seal mounted in the housing, and I'll show you a video how it works. And bushing is being the simplest of all seals. So if you think of the bushing mounted in here, all it does, it restricts the amount of leakage from high to low pressure side. So if the gearbox is mounted on this side, there's going to be higher pressure and the oil will leak past the bushing, so there's always leakage because it's non-positive seal. But as it leaks past the bushing, then there would be a lip seal installed, and then that pressure of 2 to 10 psi that the lip seal is designed for will be taken care of at the lip seal end. And next, you can just read through the annulus seal. It's a fairly straightforward description in the manual, and I would like to show a video how a labyrinth seal works. So next is the labyrinth seal. Again, it's a non-positive seal. There's going to be a leakage, and it has a tongue and groove design for high-speed application because the parts of the seals do not touch. And here's an explanation how it works. So this is the labyrinth seal, and I'm going to turn this on to get the shaft going. As you see, the dust will pass a few rings, maybe one or two, but then the dust will stop at the third ring. It provides, basically this labyrinth seal provides a treacherous path for contaminants to pass it. And in figure 50, the same labyrinth seal, but it's mounted axially. So again, it provides a tortuous clearance path for the dust or contamination. the contamination might be able to enter the first chamber, but it will not get past it, and therefore it will be kept outside.